All right, welcome back to Just Driven. We have Supra Tribute number 2 behind me. We acquired this car 9 months ago. We've been in the parts gathering stages, so here we go. All right, we acquired this 1993 Toyota Supra hardtop. It is an SE factory manual pearl white car. It came to us with the engine actually partially dismantled. We're not 100% sure what's going on with the drivetrain. Don't really care. Before we even got this car, I had already acquired another built and forged 2JZ GTE long block setup specifically for a Supra. It's actually been sitting on an engine stand for us now probably about a year. I have all the paperwork from where the machine work was done for that motor. It was done by Engine Supply out here in Santa Ana. And yeah, I acquired the motor before we even knew we were getting another car. We were in talks of building a secondary car with our primary car getting rented out and things happening to it. We figured, hey, it's probably best that we leave essentially our hero car to sit here and be stationary and be the photo car, basically like our media car, and build another one that can be rented out and be used more frequently, because the first car that we built is, as of now, tried and true. It makes 800 wheel horsepower. It has the Getrag 6-speed. It has the AP Racing Steel and 6 front brakes. It has the real Racing Heart M5 wheels. And this car is essentially a second build with our proprietary body kit that we have perfected and have catered to a lot of you guys out there that have bought a kit from us. Huge thank you for supporting us. That helps and gets us to go where we're going today. We've already acquired a long block. We have the wheels en route. I have a body kit already produced and waiting for this car to get fitted and yank everything out of this car so we can go ahead and prep this for body and paint. I have the spoiler has already been attained. It's actually here. It's unopened, still in a box. We've already started negotiating and figuring out how we're going to proceed with the interior. Last build, we did go to the guys that originally did the first car, and that was Stitchcraft Interiors. I think this time we're going to take more liberties that we want because we aren't using real Racing Heart M5 wheels. I did find another set of AP Racing Steel and 6 calipers, so we are going to use those again and get a custom hat and rotor fitted for the front brakes to look correct. I do have to acquire Toyota Supra Turbo rear calipers and rotors, but we are going to take a couple more liberties with this car. It's not going to be as like dead on in terms of the sound system, the nitrous tanks, the amp stands, and any of that stuff. As of right now, I can't say it's not a part of this project. As of right now, it is not in the plans to go down that route, but things might change like they did with the other project in terms of painting the bay to color match the outside or leaving it black. This car will likely get the same treatment. It's going to be color matched to engine bay. But like I said, we were in the parts gathering stages, so I wanted to make sure the stuff that took the longest to get, we have physically here in stock. We've worked with a lot of partners previously that'll help us out again with the turbo manifold and getting all that situated. It will still be a precision turbo and complete the look. We're not going for 800 horsepower or 1,000 horsepower even. I want this car to be more driver friendly, so it doesn't have to have like a crazy twin disc clutch, crazy 6-speed transmission. Again, this is a factory manual car, so it does have, I believe, either a W55 or a W58. And being that we're not chasing those power numbers, I don't feel like we're gonna really hurt this transmission, even though everybody thinks they're glass. A lot of it really depends on drivetrain vibrations, what type of clutch setup you choose, how you actually drive the car and how you engage the clutch and the drive line. If everything's up to par with the rest of the build, generally you're not shearing apart the transmission, just rolling into power. Now, if you're doing second gear clutch dumps and doing burnouts, yeah, maybe. Comparing the start of this car compared to the start of our first Fast and Furious Tribute Supra, that Tribute Supra actually came with a lot of really good parts on it, but it was a lot of good parts that we couldn't use anyway. So I had to offset that by selling the drivetrain, selling the wheels. I think we still have the hood. We've sold like the dash out of it. We've sold some of the interior panels that we didn't use. And this car, aside from the engine bay being kind of torn through and taken apart, I didn't really care about that. As long as all the AC components needed to be there, all the hard lines, all the fittings to mount the AC system, I wanted to be there because that is actually some of the hardest things to track down. When we were looking for a car, we actually found a project car that had no drivetrain, and we're like, yeah, perfect. Do you have all the AC components? Maybe. And that was like a $40,000 rolling shell. I don't really want to source all this stuff and waste a ton of time on AC. If it's there, cool, then we can just work with what we got. But this car has just got, I feel like it has better starting bones compared to the first car, being that the first car did come out of Texas. It did have some hail damage on the Targa roof, on the hatch area. This car does have the same similar rusting spots on the rear hatch near the glass seal. So that's something that we're gonna go ahead and take care of regardless whether it was this car or another car. It seems like the majority of the cars that are original and untouched in any part of the country where it rains and the car sat outside a long time for storage, they generally tend to have that. But I feel like this is a better starting point than our old car, mainly because there's not a ton of heavy bodywork to start with. From what I can tell, it's maybe been touched up on certain panels here and there. Of course, it's got a front lip, but as you can tell, the bumper matches the fender and the hood because it's dusty. The front lip has been painted at some point, obviously, because it's an aftermarket add-on. It doesn't match great, but when we saw this car clean and looking at all the panels, it didn't really look like it had been touched up thoroughly. It doesn't look like it had a full respray, and it's a fairly untouched car. Wheels, a lip, and some interior bits, but otherwise the engine was pretty much stock. It had an engine short ram intake that was carb legal. It doesn't have headers or anything crazy aftermarket, and it has a catback exhaust. We are missing one of the VSXX wheels, so unfortunately I am going to have to sell this set as a trio. We are going to pull off the wheels and see what spec they are. If it's a good face, we'll likely talk to Jack at VR Wheels and see if this is a set that he actually wants to take off of our hands. We've worked with him in the past in helping us rebarrel the wheels for the initial Fast and Furious Tribute Supra, along with that blue 1970 Roadrunner that's behind us. That wheel setup is completely from VR Wheels, one-off, custom spec'd specifically for that car. So we work with them a lot. Hopefully they can do something with these VSXXs for anybody out there that wants this type of wheel. So that's the history of where this car came from and how it compares to our first F&F Super Tribute. For now, we're gonna throw it off to Daryl so he can go into some more of the details, and we'll catch you guys in a bit.
All right, guys, so my turn. Thanks, Alex. So here we go. This is our 93 Toyota Supra. This car we acquired a while back, and we've had it just kind of sitting on the sidelines. There's a lot to be said about Mark IV Supras floating around the marketplace today. They are all way up here. And we were so fortunate to find one in this condition because it's not often you find them in this shape. I mean, this car, the motor's been taken apart, all the bits of the engine have been placed on the passenger seat, and the car's missing a wheel. And it was pretty much an unfinished project that someone just sort of lost interest or lost money in. And we were there at the right time and we got our hands on it. It's an NA car, but it's a factory manual, as Alex said before. And there's a lot to be said about it. I mean, you know, it's hard finding one that hasn't been crashed. And that's what's great about this car. It hasn't met a pole or a curb. It's lived its life in California, so it hasn't been exposed to salt roads. The car's not rusty underneath. All the things that you want. You know, of course, if it was a running and driving car, it'd be $50,000, $60,000 in really decent shape. We were just fortunate to get our hands on it, and so we're going to embark on this journey once again. And you know, having done this before, I feel pretty confident that we're going to be able to move quickly on this build and do it in a way that is going to be far more cost effective than what we went through on this car. So with all that being said, let's get into it. So in a lot of ways, this car is going to be a lot easier to turn into the Fast and Furious car, simply because this one's in better shape than the black car. Although this car has very similar challenges. It's got some little rust issues forming around the back window on that hatch, which is just extremely common to Mark IVs. You know, a lot of it doesn't matter because we're going to be replacing so many of the components on this car. I'm not too concerned what the hood looks like. I'm not too concerned to the condition of the headlights because we're going to put new headlights in it. We're going to put our own body kit. As Alex mentioned earlier, we've already located the wheels. Although these are nice wheels, all three of them, we're going to put our own wheels on it. We've already acquired the correct wheels that are going to go on this car, that are going to match the car that we have behind us. The wing's already been acquired, the correct wing. The exhaust has already been acquired. Alex has already acquired the drivetrain. I mean, there's not a lot more boxes to check. Are we going to go to the same level that we did on the orange car? Not likely. And the reason for that is because we're not really sure how much of that is going to be caught on the big screen. And so we're being a little bit mindful of that. So as you could see, the engine on this car has been partially taken apart, and you know, we don't know the condition of this engine, and honestly we're not really too concerned about it. Like Alex said, he's already got an engine just sitting back there somewhere along with all our other parts. It's already built, it's already modded, and it's going to just drop in here beautifully. Are we going to paint the engine bay? There's some controversy surrounding us painting the engine bay on the first car. A lot of people out there said, oh, you should paint it black because, you know, that's how Craig's car was. But, you know, in reality, we never saw the engine on the finished car. You know, if you go back and look at the movie, you saw it in its NA state when it came in on the flatbed and Brian O'Connor said, here's your car, and you just briefly saw the motor. There was another shot. One of them was in the engine bay and you could really not see inside the car, and the car was really primered at that stage anyway. So we never really got to see under the hood of this car. And so we decided we're gonna make it look as close as we could, but we were gonna paint the engine bay because honestly, if you're gonna go through the extreme of restoring a car, why wouldn't you color match the engine bay? Again, remember, we were trying to build a replica of what was seen in the movie, not a replica of Craig's car after the movie, because, you know, a lot of things changed on Craig's car. He changed the headlights. He put black headlights on it after the movie. He put different color graphics on the bottom of it after the movie. There was a lot of things he did after the movie, and so there was a lot of photos floating around of Craig's car being the movie car, which it was, but he made some modifications to it. And that's when the engine bay was photographed multiple times, and it clearly had a black engine bay, and everyone said, oh, you should make it look exactly like Craig's car. We didn't want to replicate Craig's car. We wanted to replicate the cars that were seen in the movie. There's a difference. Since you didn't see the engine bay in the movie, we took our own liberties and decided we were going to do what any restorer would do, and that's color match the engine bay, and that's what we did. We'll probably do the same thing to this car. I'm just excited that we found one in this condition. Like I said, it's never been crashed. It has been painted at some point. This is a factory white car. I don't want to get into all the power and all the stuff the thing's going to make because that's really in Alex's wheelhouse. I'm just here to point out the things that are important to me. And of course, paint work is kind of in my wheelhouse, and that's what's important to me. So the gaps, the fender gaps, the hood gaps, you know, much like this car, everything just has to match beautifully. And you know, our body kits, we've perfected the body kits to the point where they fit pretty darn well. I'm excited. What about you? What do you guys think? Are we kind of crazy? Why are we building another car? That's a great question. That's a great question. I'm not sure I can answer that yet, but I will tell you that we're just excited to have one in the condition this one's in, and that's all I'm gonna say for now. So, you know, stand by. We're gonna get into this build here relatively soon. Like I said, we've been in the parts acquiring stages for the last few months, and we've got most of the parts we need. All right, so that's gonna wrap up this video. If you guys wanna see this car turn into what's behind it, don't forget to subscribe. We are going to share the entire video build with you guys, so the entire process from start to finish. Alex is gonna start tearing this thing apart probably later today. We're gonna capture all that, and I think you're gonna like to see it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.
All right, so that's a little bit of the backstory. All right, so God, fuck. All right, so that's the history. God damn it. Why?
History.
Why?
History.
Why? But for now, that's what we have on this car. We're gonna go ahead and compare it to our other car, and then go from there, and then you go fuck yourself.
I don't even know if this is the hole it goes in.
That's it.
It is?
Yeah. I think you can flip it upside down the other side.
Okay, shit. No, that's the side that,
I think you're good.
but I think that's the side that,
Yep, no, you're good. Perfect.
ay, ay, ay.
I wanted to let you struggle.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're a dick. I don't know that I'd build another Supra. I honestly don't know, because I've got one. We've got this beautiful hardtop black Supra with 50,000 miles on it that is a little cream puff. I mean, look, I'm no spring chicken. I can't, there's half these cars I don't even drive. You drive them more than I do. And so I don't know that I'd buy and build another Supra for me. I mean, don't get me wrong. A Mark IV Supra is right up there with an R34 GTR for me. Right up there. People always, oh, what would you prefer? Oh, I don't know. I'm kind of a fence walker when it comes to that. But yeah, would I build this? No, I'd probably sell it. I may build it to sell, or I may just sell it the way it is. Yeah. So what I thought would be crazy to do, and of course no one would buy it, is I would paint it Kawasaki green and put orange stripes on it. That's what I would do. Because I think that would be crazy.
You're gonna get hit.
I know. I don't know why, but when I saw this car and I saw the green graphic, I thought, oh my God, it'd be so cool to paint that car that color. I mean, it's a total Mopar thing because that looks like sassy grass green that you saw back in the 70s on a Mopar. But I don't know. Or I would just go, because again, that's showing my age, right? I'm definitely living in that era. But by today's standard, you don't put any graphics on, no stickers, and just keep it a solid color. The most popular colors everybody likes to paint their cars: black, gray, silver, white. Those are the 4 most popular colors people like their cars today. I mean, the occasional red, but there's a lot of people that don't like red. Now there's the blue people that like blues, and and I'm in that fan. I'm kind of a fan of that color as well. So I don't know, but I would probably paint it if I knew I was going to sell it. I'd probably paint it gray or black, or I'd leave it white. White is also a very popular color for a Supra. In fact, the fact that it's a factory Supra white, I don't know, I'd probably paint it back to its factory white, go to the extreme we're going with, leave it bone stock, put TE37s on it, build the motor, make it 600-700 horsepower, put a turbo wing on it, and put turbo, it's already got pretty much everything. That's what's nice about the Supra. It's got the same side skirts that a turbo has. So I would probably make it look like a turbo Supra and sell it, for, I don't know, you'd probably get, if it's beautifully restored to the condition we restore cars in, it'd probably fetch 80 grand, and it makes 600-700 horsepower to the wheels, big Brembo kit, or, I mean, there's so many freaking JDM brake kits that I'm endless. I love endless brakes. Project Muse, another phenomenal, that's what's on my hardtop Supra.
Premier Edition, 1993 and a half. I believe that was the Premier Edition year designation. Hardtop, wingless, anthracite, black leather or cloth, small single, mild cam, easy clutch, street-inspired coilover, something between comfort and sport, not too aggressive. 18-inch, 9.5, 10.5. Brembo GTs, front and rear, 6 and 4. Interior stock, completely stock. Maybe a small gauge somewhere at a site, just with your essentials, boost, oil temperature. That's all I really need. A nice EMS with some tunability so I can have some fun and some crackles and some pops if I want, because it's fun. Interior, very simple. Maybe seats, maybe just stock seats. I'm not driving this car too hard because I'm putting out 500 at the wheel, stock bottom end, nothing crazy. Maybe an LSD, not sure. Factory diff is pretty good up to those horsepower levels, maybe. If it was, again, easy LSD, something that's not going to be on tight corners, and a 3.5-inch all the way out exhaust, TEs, black or bronze. I just described my Supra that I sold to Ken Henderson, minus some of the mods. The motor was mostly stock. It was I think it was completely stock when I sold it. Yeah, the motor. It might have had intake and exhaust.
Always had a way to make it work and find another route. Always had a way to make it work and find another route.